My boyfriend, 39, and I, 38 female, were having problems, and I always felt unheard. He took me for granted. He expected the house to be tidy, dinner on the table, and laundry done when he got home, as if I was some maid, not his partner. I tried to communicate my needs to him, but he wasn't interested. He always told me I was overthinking things or making a big deal out of nothing. Since he worked and I didn't, he thought I should handle everything else without question. Despite this, I loved him and really wanted to make the relationship work. Looking back, I should have left when I saw how little he cared about my feelings. But I held on. Things got worse, and I no longer felt comfortable being intimate with him because I felt so disrespected. He seemed oblivious to how bad things had gotten. Our relationship wasn't healthy anymore, and I felt completely disconnected from him. I spent most of my days alone while he was at work, and I started feeling incredibly lonely. Out of boredom and loneliness, I decided to reach out to a couple of old friends on Facebook. I reconnected with a guy I used to know who had a thing for me. He was married now, but we started talking, and that's where the emotional affair began. We messaged each other daily, and I found myself looking forward to our conversations. He was a bright spot in my otherwise dull and unhappy days. He was funny, kind, and actually listened to me, something I hadn't experienced from my boyfriend in a long time. We never met in person, so what could be the harm? But things escalated and we started flirting. It became more than just innocent chatting between friends, and I knew it. One evening, he suggested we meet up in person. I knew it was a bad idea, but part of me wanted to see him. I wanted to feel wanted and appreciated. So I agreed. We met, and I ended up taking him back to my place. We had sex that night, and I hated myself for it even while it was happening. We ended up falling asleep afterward, and that's when everything fell apart. My boyfriend came home from work after his OT and found us both in bed sleeping. I can't describe the feeling of waking up to see him standing there. He shouted and woke us up, and then a fight broke out between him and the guy I had brought home. I tried to break it up, and in the chaos, I got hurt too. My boyfriend threw AP out like a piece of meat, literally threw him out of our apartment, naked. The neighbors were arriving home from work, and they all saw what was happening. It was beyond humiliating. Then my boyfriend tried to throw me out too. He was so enraged that he didn't care that I didn't have any clothes on. Just the blanket I had hurriedly wrapped on, I stood there in the threshold with all the neighbors watching, and that's when something seemed to snap in him. He seemed to realize what he was doing and pulled me back inside. But by then, it was too late. Everything between us was destroyed. He immediately broke things off with me. He told me to pack my things and leave, and while I was doing that, he was chatting with the neighbors like nothing had happened, as if I was nothing to him. I took the walk of shame out of there, while the neighbors peered. It was the worst moment of my life. I ended up crashing at a friend's place, but I can't stay here much longer since she keeps making passive, aggressive remarks. I have nowhere to go, and I need to find work soon. But I've been in such a deep depression that I can barely get out of bed. It's been 2 weeks since it all happened, and I've been rotting in bed ever since. The remorse I feel is overwhelming, but I know that feeling guilty won't fix anything. I threw my entire life away for one evening in the sack, and I hurt the person I love most in the process. My boyfriend has cut me off completely. He won't answer my calls or texts, and I don't blame him. I know he never wants to see me again. My AP hasn't reached out to me either. It's not that I want him to, but it's hard suddenly not having anybody to interact with. I don't want anything to do with him though. What I did was disgusting, and I hate myself for it. I should have just left my boyfriend if I was that unhappy, but instead I chose to cheat. I'm posting here because I don't know what else to do. I need advice. I need to figure out how to rebuild my life from here. I know I need to find a job and a place to stay, but the thought of moving forward feels impossible right now. I've apologized to my ex, and I know it doesn't mean much coming from me, but I truly am sorry. I know that I can never take back what I did, and I have to live with that. I've learned my lesson the hard way, and I know I will never cheat again. I just wish I had learned it before I hurt the person I loved. I don't expect my ex to believe that I've changed, and honestly, I don't think I'll ever get a chance to show him. I feel like I've ruined any chance I had at a happy future. Please don't be me. Story 2. Is it possible to move on if she won't admit what she did? I don't want to bore you with details, but about a year ago, I went through the phone of my girlfriend of 5 years, who I was planning on proposing to. She is in dental school, and I found out that she was talking to a male classmate for over 4 months, opening up about our relationship and admitting that she was attracted to him and liked him. I found out that she went to his place at least one night. To this day, she swears that they just cuddled and didn't even kiss. Note that even admitting to cuddling only happened after months of trickle truths and me pressing her lying and yelling at me for not believing her, and threatening to break up with me if I didn't drop it, and then under stress, me finding new information, she would admit to a little more. I'm not naive and know that they probably even had sex, and that wasn't the first time. I know that she would say anything to not admit what she did. This all happened a year ago. I tried to move on and forgive her as long as she cut him off completely. However, every once in a while when I was with her, she'd get a text from him. She would swear that she didn't talk to him anymore, and she didn't know why he was texting her. Eventually it stopped happening, but one day I was suspicious and went through her phone and realized that his phone number was blocked. I was suspicious that it may only blocked when I was around, so I surprised her at school and went through it again, and guess what? His number was not blocked anymore. She was cyclically blocking and unblocking his number when I was around so I wouldn't see that they were still talking. After this, I broke up with her. I found out she went to his house the night we broke up. She had claimed to this point they didn't talk for months now. To this day, she claims she just went and cried to him and nothing happened. Of course I know she's lying. We were separated for a month and ultimately I went back to her and we got back together. Truth is, I don't know if I love her or have attachment issues. I'm not a guy that doesn't have options. I work out every day. I'm 6'2", have been working out every day for the past 15 years, and actually regularly get approached by attractive women. I also go to a top 10 medical school and have a great career headed for me. Nevertheless, I'm attached to her and think that I love her. It's been about a year since the original incident, 6 months since our breakup and reconciliation, and she still swears up and down that nothing ever happened. I think about it every day, and I wish I could believe her. This would make life so much easier, but I know she's lying. I'm not naive. Sometimes I think that if she would just admit what she did, I could move past it. The uncertainty and the constant lies just keep eating at me. I do think everyone makes mistakes. I've been tested myself and debated cheating, at least mentally, but didn't come close to pulling the trigger. In my attempts to empathize, I think that maybe under the right kind of stress and doubt, maybe I could have made a mistake like her also. But at this point, I know that I would have told the truth about it. The dishonesty eats me alive, and I don't know how to commit until I get a sense of closure on this. The main reason Imp bringing this up is because our families are meeting tomorrow night for dinner. In my Persian Jewish community, this is a big deal. I don't know what to do. Should I end this before it moves forward even more? Is it possible for us to reconcile? How do we even do any of this? I love her, and she's my best friend, but I'm just stuck. Thank you for reading all of this. I welcome any advice. Edit. I do think I love her and always planned on marrying her after my board exams, a year-ish from now. But now I don't know if I can ever make that commitment with someone I don't trust. The only thing she apologizes for is emotional cheating and says that my reaction was so over the top that I am equally to blame. She draws moral equivalence to her cheating and my subsequent outrage and yelling, making her feel bad, becoming controlling. I know that I may have made some mistakes. I don't think anyone knows how to deal with this sort of trauma with a person I plan to spend my life with. I got therapists to help me deal with all my emotions, and I'll even apologize at times for being controlling in response to everything that has happened. But I can't ever accept a moral equivalence to these two things. The guy moved away recently, and shortly after she agreed to share with her location with me on Find My Friends to help my trust. She doesn't think I see a connection between the timing of these two things. At first there was comfort in knowing it was over for sure, but I honestly feel so weak and embarrassed for how I handled everything. I don't know why I couldn't bring myself to move on. Even in that 1 month that we were separated, any women I met would be instantly mentally compared to my ex, and in my mind, they wouldn't come close. Considering things objectively, I do think she's a selfish person. Most of my friends have always said that over these last 5 years, and even members of her immediate family have said that they think she doesn't deserve me and that I can do better. I really wish I had the balls to break up with her from the beginning and spare myself all the pain. I think I still wish I had the balls to break up with her, but for some reason, I just can't even imagine myself with anyone else. I don't know why I just can't pull the trigger. You're wasting your time and self-respect on someone who has zero respect for you. She's lied, manipulated, gaslit, and even threatened you when you asked for basic honesty. And you're still thinking about making it work? Come on, man, you said it yourself. You've got options. You're in a top medical school, fit, and getting approached by attractive women regularly. Meanwhile, you're spending your energy chasing after someone who cuddled with another dude, lied about it for a year, blocked and unblocked his number just to keep playing you, and ran to his place the minute you two broke up. She isn't your best friend. Best friends don't treat you like garbage and then pretend everything's fine. You're about to bring your families together, which means you're on the verge of diving into something much deeper. If you move forward, you're signing up for a lifetime of suspicion and insecurity because she's already proven she won't tell the truth unless she's caught red-handed. And even then, she'll just trickle out half-truths. You'll never have peace. Don't let your attachment or fear of starting over dictate your life. She isn't going to change, and you deserve someone who values honesty and respects you enough to be transparent. Pull the plug now before you're in even deeper. Get out while you still can and while you still have some dignity left.